First, I'd like to thank Brandy Falcon, our finance director, Keith Taylor, our deputy finance director, Arrow Gidney, our senior accountant, and of course, Jennifer Locke, our county clerk, for all the countless hours that you put in helping us elected officials put together this budget. Thank you. The Kootenai County FY 2025 budget is a good budget, I believe. It's not the budget I wanted, but it's a good budget, especially when you look at other taxing districts, like other counties in Idaho and even cities here in Kootenai County, that are looking to not only take the full 3%, but in addition, foregone taxes. This is a tax that was not taken in previous fiscal years, but can be recaptured in a future year if there is a budget shortfall. For example, if a district only took 2% one year out of a 3% maximum, and later they need that 1%, then it can be captured in a future year as a foregone tax, which means the tax rate will be 4%. This year, Kootenai County is looking at about a 2% increase, or $1.2 million roughly. The good news, and one county citizen should be proud of, is that our operating budget actually went down by $27,000 for FY25. The year before it only went up a mere $38,000. This out of a roughly $110 million budget. I believe it's safe to say that one of the biggest issues for citizens with tax dollars, their tax dollars, is that they don't want their money wasted on government excess and bloat. I concur. So where is the money going if not operations? We invested that 2% increase into recruiting and retaining our staff. About $700,000 of that money went toward an annual step, which is like an annual adjustment found on a time and grade pay scale. And about $1.7 million went toward a 2.5% COLA, which is actually less than a lot of the other surrounding jurisdictions, cost of living adjustment. This combined amount, $2.4 million, far exceeds the ask from the county citizens to attract and retain qualified talent. Most of that money went toward public safety, which includes our sheriff's office, the courts, and our prosecuting attorney staff. Attracting and retaining high-performing staff will save county taxpayers more money in the long run compared to losing the high-performing staff members, needing more staff to supplement low performers, and being in a perpetual state of hiring and training. Top-notch managers know this to be true, and we should be practicing it here. While Kootenai County does have some issues with inefficiencies, which present opportunities for lowering operating costs, the biggest challenge has been the severe underfunding of positions, primarily in public safety, that has led to the county being the destination jurisdiction to get one start in public safety, but to quickly move on to other jurisdictions for higher pay. This vicious cycle drives some of our best talent away from the county and toward other jurisdictions. We addressed this issue last year by giving our sheriff's patrol deputies a pay raise to 3% below Coeur d'Alene Police Department. We stopped the attrition of losing these patrol deputies, and now are beginning to fill our ranks with these patrol deputies. And that, by the way, was just the beginning. We had to make some expensive mid-year pay adjustments to fix attrition and an inability to fill mission-critical positions within public safety. The first was our 911 system, which was so badly neglected for many years by the BOCC. And yes, I say that if we had lost just one more dispatcher, we would not be able to cover a shift. Folks, I'm not going to allow you to call up 911 and get a recorded message. And I've actually had people tell me they did get recorded messages because we had so few people working to answer your calls. By increasing the pay to equal, not exceeding, to equal that of Spokane's dispatch, we not only stopped the resignations, we received so many applications from qualified candidates that we actually paused accepting new applications. I'm glad to report that we fixed this issue, certainly for the time being. For the prosecutor's office, we were down 5 positions, 20% vacancy in prosecutors. We could not fill positions, and the office was on the verge of not being able to prosecute crime like this community would want and expect. If it wasn't for our fine prosecuting attorney, Stanley Mortensen, who's sitting over there, he's got a tie and a jacket on, thank you, taking on cases himself, it would be greater than 20% vacancy. We fixed that. And then there is the jail. We have failed our jail inspection continuously for many, many years. The physical capacity of the Kootenai County Jail is 451 inmates. The legal capacity is only 361 inmates. Why is the legal capacity 90 inmates lower? 90 inmates lower than what the jail can hold? Because we cannot hire enough deputies to properly staff our jail. That's why we fail these inspections. We were losing jail deputies as fast and in some cases faster than we could actually find qualified candidates to replace them. One of the main reasons for this is because of pay. We believe that we have fixed most of this issue. Pay, along with closely working with our sheriff, which him and myself have had many discussions. We believe there is a pathway toward fixing this staffing issue and hopefully passing our jail inspection in the next couple of years. That will be quite a landmark for this county. Those mid-year adjustments we granted for public safety were $1.35 million, all invested in staff, out of a total of $2.3 million mid-year adjustments. After we adopted, this is after we already adopted the FY 2024 budget. Now that we have addressed many of the most pressing staffing issues within the county, I want to strongly discourage my contemporaries and other elected officials and department heads from bringing forth and approving such mid-year changes unless they are both budget neutral during FY 25 and subsequent budget years. There's a little trick that goes on in the county. We get requests to add staff mid-year. If we approve it mid-year, guess what? It automatically goes into the next year's budget. We have no control over that at that point. We've approved it mid-year. We need to stop that practice. I say this because next year we will have many budgetary challenges. And you in this audience and at home need to know that. To put this into perspective, most of the open positions for jail deputies are only funded at 50%, like Ms. Falcon said earlier tonight, to achieve the lower tax rate. We reduced the amount that we could capture for these salaries by 50% so we could have a lower tax rate this year for you. But there's a catch that comes with that. Because if we fill these positions in the next 12 months, we're going to be short $1.9 million or some number below that, depending on how many people we hire, because we've adjusted the pay and we're attracting people. So that's going to be a shortfall that we're going to have to address. Our jail medical contract came in at $1.2 million greater than expected this year, than what we budgeted. This is a service by law that we must provide. This year we are fortunate to be able to manage to it, but next year we will need an additional $1.2 million and possibly more for the following contract. We have to provide these healthcare services to these inmates. Whether we want to or not, we have to cover that difference. But that's not all. If we are to maintain an annual step for employees, then we will likely need another $1.1 million. Combined, these three issues, and like I said, this is for retention of people who are not problem employees. One write-up, you do not get your step. One write-up. That was something that I was very adamant about last year if we were going to increase these offer steps to employees. Let's make room for a high performer that wants to come in and do a good job. They work for you. Combined, these three issues add up to $4.2 million in additional revenue that we're going to need, all based on staffing and the jail medical contract. If we increase taxes for FY 26 3%, that only adds up to about 1.7, maybe a little bit more dollars, which will make us about 2.5 million short. So how do we fix this? First, we need to optimize processes and hopefully reduce the need to add staff for a growing county. I believe that we can actually decrease some staffing needs by developing more efficient ways to serve the citizens of this county. It's something I'm working on right now with senior managers, and I will keep you informed of what I'm able to accomplish in that area. Just simple flow charting and reporting of how efficient we are. Just little things like that can actually make a big difference. Second, it will take courage from our elected officials to explain the challenges the county faces, excuse me, be transparent with the issues, and explain where the money is needed and being spent. I have found that when you know what the problems are, and we explain exactly where that money is going to go, people are much more receptive to what we have to do to provide these service levels for you. And so that's my promise to you. You can expect roughly 2/3 of our budget to go toward public safety in one way or another. And as the population grows, so too will the demand for more government. The single biggest driver behind the growth of government here and its need for taxation is the population growth occurring in our county. That's just the reality of it. That's the way the system works. And I encourage any one of you in this audience to work with me on ways that we can manage that growth so we don't have to put that burden on citizens here to pay for that growth, if we can manage it more effectively. And that's one of the things I'm working on with the cities. It'd be great if we could try to join our comp plans together and start looking at what this community is going to look like as a whole in the future, because the growth here is what is driving your budget. The emergency medical services, people moving here, you have more calls for service. It's just it's simple math. So with that, I believe we do have a good budget this year, and certainly compared to the other taxing jurisdictions, and I'm happy to discuss any last-minute details before moving to a vote. Thank you all.